that, but esports is different than gaming, right? Gaming is the mother umbrella, if I can call it that. But when it comes to Indian businesses, is esports the way to go? Because rest of it is pretty much covered by global players?
Well, I would say that you have opportunity wide open. I mean, I wouldn't say that Indians should restrict from esports. I mean, esports is another area where Indians should get into. But I think it's important for the ecosystem and people to understand that there are various kind of pillars within the larger gaming ecosystem, and esports is one amongst them. You, of course, have fantasy, which Dream11 has been pushing a lot. And then you've got the casual game layer, which also has multiple layers to it. For example, in the casual games, you have those games which are mobbed from real-world games which are recognized by federations in terms of rules. You've got games which are not federation recognized. You've got games which are there only in the virtual world. You can't play them in real world. And then, of course, you've got games like Rummy, Poker, and so on. So it's a pretty huge and large variety of games that exist within these broad categories. And I would say that India should be actually looking at the entire spectrum and not restrict to one. And each of them have grown in their own phenomenal manner. You've got so many companies and startups which have come in the casual gaming space. You've got plenty of them coming in the fantasy space and so on. And if you, to your point, we are currently consuming those e-sport games which have been built by overseas players. But it's a matter of time we will have Indian companies coming with large sports which are accepted globally. So, in fact, if you look at the AVGC and the initiatives which the government is pushing, it has to trigger, I mean, we are, I keep telling this, we in the startup ecosystem, we are a producing economy and a consuming one. And therefore, you have a large consumer base available here to validate and actually absorb this if they are built with better quality and so on, which we are capable of. So my take would be that India should look at all the streams, India should work towards all of it and enable that ecosystem that will create livelihoods and a $1 trillion economy that is being expected from this space. So if you look at livelihoods, again, it was already mentioned, but you have plenty of careers now developing about this new age economy that includes even coaches who are training people on how to play games. And part of it is in the gig economy. And then you've got people who are actually, I mean, journalists covering it are building a career of their own. Lawyers who are covering it are creating the legal ecosystem on their own. You've got coders, you've got developers, and more importantly, you've got the gig part, which is giving the surround support for it. So phenomenal, I would say, emergence of livelihoods that can come from this, plus quality content can take us to the next level.